There's quite a few. I have a mood disorder. I have a personality disorder. And I'm very, very bipolar. And I also have PTSD really bad. And what is it like to live with mental illness? Sometimes it was really hard at first because it's that stigma, you know, you're mental, you're not a normal person. Well, there's nothing normal in the world anymore. It's hard because I didn't realize until in my late 30s that I had any mental disorders. So I mean, it's like, you know, I just thought, you know, this was just part of life. But my late 30s, I was diagnosed with all these mental disorders. So yeah, mental orders, not disorders, mental orders. Yeah. Once they found out I had a mental illness, it was like I had a disease. And I don't have a disease. I have mental issues, not a disease. Yeah, and going to this Frontier House has been able, for the last 4 years, has been able to help me work with my mental issues. So yeah, I'm grateful for the Frontier House. I went, I was having a, walking and talking with my boyfriend, and I went completely south. I was seeing a therapist, and they put me on Cymbalta, and I went completely south, and I threw a wheelchair at him. And that's when they decided that I needed to go to a mental hospital, which I did. And I was a guinea pig, and they put me on the TUDA, and that's what I'm on now. And I had to make sure that it was in my system, right, and got in my system that I was supposed to and everything. And after they realized that there was a difference, that there was a change, that my medication was working, I was able to go home. I like my TUDA because it keeps my moods more on an even keel than off the charts. Yeah. So my mood swings were off the charts really bad, and that's when I decided maybe I need to see a therapist, and thought, you know, and that's when I found out I had mental issues. Yeah, there was always a big change in my mood. Yeah. It was hard. I couldn't get close to people. Yeah. Now things seem a lot more easier. I can talk to people. I can sit down and have a normal conversation because my mood just instantly changed. Yeah. Always wanted to fight with somebody, and yeah. Now it's like more of an even keel. Well, my boys, 3 out of my boys, wondered if it was inheritable. And it's not inheritable, but two of my kids are very bipolar. It's not in it. Mental issues is not all mental issues are inheritable, but 2 out of 6 of my kids are bipolar. So, then it was a struggle when they got diagnosed. They were like, well, Mom, and I'm like, well, you can't blame it on me. It's just, you know, part of life. It's something that happens.
Yeah. What sort of treatment?
I had to go through 2 or 3 therapists before I felt comfortable. I won't talk to a male therapist. And now that my therapist quit, they're getting me another one. I won't talk to a man. It's easier for me to talk to a woman therapist. So it was hard at first, starting to tell somebody everything I've been through, you know, and yeah. And especially some of the stuff that happened to me when I was younger, it's hard to talk to a male, so it's a lot easier for me to talk to a woman than it is a man, so. Now I'm waiting for a new therapist, so.
Good for you.
No, the TUDA was the one that's worked the best. They said Cymbalta was just fueling the fire, so. Cymbalta wasn't working, and then I became a guinea pig, and they tried something, I can't remember what, they tried something else, and that just made me a zombie, and I'm like, I don't want to be a zombie. I'm going to take medications for mental issues. I don't want to be a walking zombie. So then they put me on the TUDA, and the TUDA has been working fine.
Good. That's what you like.
I'm going to a therapist, going to the Frontier House.
That's pretty.
It's like the Frontier House helped me get back in the community where I feel like, other than the stupid COVID masks we had to wear, it's like I can be myself. I don't have to wear a mask. And sometimes out with the stigma that they have people with mental illness, sometimes other places out, you know, out and about in the community, just, I feel like I can't be myself. And the Frontier House has made me more comfortable being myself. Well, a lot of the stupid movies they make about people that are psychotic or people that are, you know, schizophrenic or whatever, it just, they seem, a lot of the community thinks we're all the same way, you know. just because we have a mental issue. Like I said, I have mental issues. I don't have a mental disorder. I have mental issues. You know, I don't have a disorder. And it's, you know, it's, yeah. It's not a character defect. It's part of life. And I just wish people would look at people for who they are and not a diagnosis. Does that make sense?
For sure.
I'd rather be a human being than be my diagnosis. Yeah. Because besides that, I used to be an addict too. So when people, you know, got mental issues and an addict altogether, that's, oh, you're a bad person and automatically. And I don't like that. I want people to like me for me and not judge me because of who I was or who I am or who I used to be, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Until I got my mental issues under control.
That's right.
I'm just a regular person that just has a few mental issues that she has to deal with on a daily basis.
Right.
I have to make sure I'm okay with myself on a daily basis in order to function in society. Because if I'm waking up and I'm having a bad day and I don't feel like me, then I'm not going to go anywhere. You know? I have to know that I'm okay with me and make sure that, because with me, I would take my Latuda at night. So that's one thing, because I have to have, it works with the amount of calories you have in your system, so in order for it to work right. And one thing I found out about it, that gluten messes with my psych meds. So if I eat pasta or like a lot of bread, then my meds don't work the way they're supposed to. And if my meds aren't working the way they're supposed to, then I seem kind of like off and like way out in my own zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to make sure I'm okay and okay with myself to function on a day-to-day basis.
That sounds like a lot of extra work.
Oh, it is some days. Some days are better than others, but there's some days that are just bad. I've learned to manage it and make sure it doesn't manage me, which it takes a lot sometimes. I want to be able to manage my own life, and I don't want my illnesses to be in control.
I like the way you put that.
I think it should be a mental illness, not a mental disorder or a mental disease, because it's not. To me, I have mental issues, so yeah. I just have to make sure that I'm able to manage my mental issues so that they're not in control of my everyday life. A lot more kinder and happier person. That's how I feel now that now that I was diagnosed, yeah. It can be managed, it's as easy as you make it. Some people have issues that are worse than mine, but it's as easy as we make our life. We can make our life live in hell, or we can make our life easy when we have a mental. It all depends on the person. Yeah. Some people have a hard time dealing with their mental issues, so yeah. That's why I said every two people are not the same that have mental issues. We might run into two of us that have the same diagnosis, but we're not alike at all. It all depends on how you manage your diagnosis. Don't let it manage you. Manage your own diagnosis and manage your life. Because it's not easy at first, but the more you work at it, the easier it gets. It wasn't easy for me at first. Yeah. I was like in shock when I first, that all this was wrong with me, yeah. So it's not easy at first. You just have to take your time and get better on your own. I'm kind, I'm a respectful person. I'm a kind human being. I care about people. I have a big heart, and I'm always wanting to help other people. I'm unique. There's nobody else out there like me. I used to play volleyball. Just hanging out with other clean friends of mine, because like I said, I am sober and clean. I like hanging out with my clean friends and just hanging out and watching movies and crocheting and making jewelry. That's what I really like doing. Getting in my own little world, making jewelry and crocheting blankets. times it gets hard. I have bad days and I struggle, but that's when I get on the phone to a sponsor, I get on the phone to a mentor, or somebody else that's in my support system, and yeah, and then I'm okay.
Good. That's awesome.
I have bad days like everybody else does.
That's right.
And I have to talk to somebody in order to get back in the right frame of mind, you might say, to go on with my day. Sometimes it's on a day-to-day basis, and there's sometimes for me it's just hour by hour.
Okay.
I make pot holders and blankets mostly. I don't know how to make hats or nothing like that, so I like making blankets for people.
That's good. In Colorado, you need all the blankets. You
Yeah, you need all the blankets you can get up here because, yeah, it gets really cold up here.
It does, yeah.
That's all I can say is that people that find out that they have a mental issue or a mental diagnosis, just take your time and work with it and learn how to manage it and don't let it manage you. It's about the only advice I can give anybody that finds out they have a mental issue.